You know it's getting serious when I put my glasses on.
You know it's getting serious when I pull out my broken slinky. You know it's getting serious.
No, impossible. Not the broken slinky.
This could actually tear someone's eyes out. It's very sharp at the tip.
And we are back for episode number dos. I was gonna say dos because it's Spanish. We have Spanish-speaking viewers.
Spanish-speaking.
Sí, número dos. We are back for episode dos of the first-person FPS game. Last time we got the camera working. Let's hit play. Check it out. We can move around with the camera. It also locks the mouse and also make it invisible. One thing to also really cool here to look at. So I put these side by side. And let me hit on pause. As I move around and look around, you can see that the player actually turned. Not just the camera. Let me target the player. You can actually see
and the player,
that the player turns is his forward direction changes. But if we look up and down, of course, it doesn't affect his sideways rotation. So all we really need is a script that says when we press forward, make him move forward in the direction he's facing. Otherwise, when we press backwards, just have him move backwards in whichever direction his backwards. So go forward in the direction. You can see that blue arrow. Why did I make the floor blue? It kind of makes it hard to see it, but it's there. Let's change the color of the floor.
Yeah.
Boom.
Black.
There we go. So just go forward in the forward direction. And as you know me, I explain things a little too much. So
No.
You don't think so?
No, it's good for beginners.
Alright, so if you're beginners, enjoy. If you're not, just facepalm a little bit and get through it.
Yes.
Alright, so we're going to create a second script. Player move. Oh, why am I all caps? Player move. And this player move script will be the script that will make the player move.
Yeah.
Alright, so with the script created, Mr. Cruz, we're going to drop the script on the who, on the what?
On the player.
You got it. So let's throw the script on the player. Again, I mentioned this a lot, and again, I like to throw out some information here just to make sure everyone understands what's going on. I like to click on the player and then just drag it over here and throw it right underneath the button that says add component. And you can see there's two of them. But you can also just drag it and drop it on the player right here in the hierarchy. Boom. And you see it still shows up there. Another way is you can actually just click on it and drag it right on the player if you're in the scene view. Just click on it and drag it right on the player. Boom, like so. And now you see there's actually three scripts. I like to do it this way. Just click, drag it over here with the player selected, because when you're dragging it into the scene, I could actually accidentally drop it on the camera because there's a camera there. Not to mention there's also another cube here that we're using for his sunglasses, and we can accidentally drop it on that as well. So there's a lot of room for error if we do it that way. And so I like to just do it this way, where you click on the player, go in the inspector, and just drop it right below, so we guarantee that it's on him. We're gonna make this dude move in the direction he's going, and I think an easier way to do character movement these days is to simply just use a character controller component. If you're not too familiar with it, something that Unity has introduced a while back, so just go ahead and go into the add component and just search char for character, or just type the whole word out if you're that kind of person. And here we have character controller. and just put it on him. You don't really have to do much customization here, except what I can do now is actually remove the capsule collider, because the character controller, look at it here, it comes with a capsule collider. So if you see, if I can remove the character controller, there's no colliders. There's not.
No colliders.
If I put it back, it brings a capsule collider with it. Basically, inside of the component, there's a capsule collider. So there's no external colliders in here. You can indeed move it around though using these settings. So you can move the collider itself if it's not balanced or if it's not perfect, because you might not be using a capsule. You could be using an actual player. But this character controller allows us to simply tell the character to move. And so we need to now just simply make the script interact with this character controller and then send it a command to make the character move. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Give me a second here. Let me open up my notes. My notes.
Yep.
My notes.
We could actually make a character controller and a move script with very simple code.
Yeah, really simple code.
Very simple. Yeah, not too many lines.
Really simple, not too many lines. Let's do it. First line is just a public. Why am I all caps again? Just a public float. And this is gonna be for the
speed.
The movement speed. Yes. And then the second line could just be a public character controller, and then we can just call it controls. Oh, about this, we'll call it trolls. Controls. We'll call it trolls. With that, I'm gonna take my time with you guys in case you're complete beginners. With this being public, it means that you create a type of character controller and you refer to it as trolls. And now it shows up here in the inspector. And all we got to do is click on this character controller, drag it, drop it there. So now trolls represents this character controller right here that's on the player. As for speed, while I'm out here, I just set it to 12. So now in the update here, we can create some simple movement, and using the command trolls.move, it's actually a capital M, boom, right here where I put the question mark, all I have to do is send it the direction and the speed that I want it to move as, and it will move. The character controller takes care of everything else. So easy peasy. Let's do it. Let's gather information on the buttons that are being pressed. So float, all of the X directions, I'll just call it X, and it'll be input dot
get access,
and then
horizontal.
That's right.
And then do the same thing for the vertical.
And so we'll make a
Y.
it's technically a Y, but I'm going to call it Z because I'm going to use it as forward and backwards. And it's going to be vertical. So now when I press the WASD or the arrow keys, left and right, information goes into X. Up and down, or W and S, information goes into Z. Finally, let's place this all into one little vector 3. Vector 3 is basically creating a three-dimensional position in space, and I'll call mine movement and say movement equals, I want to make sure that when we push this, it's going to make him go forward. So when you put transform.right, it's the same as saying forward in a sense. No, I'm sorry. It's the same as saying left and right. And so X is all the left and right. So I'm timesing that. And then I'm going to plus, and then transform dot. And of course, forward means forward. That's a no-brainer. And then times that now by the Z input. And then since I have that, I just throw it in here.
Movement.
Movement is me gathering all the information about which direction I want the player to move.
Yes.
From the inputs that I'm capturing, and I just throw it in here. One thing I am missing though is I didn't use my speed, and so in here I simply say, well, I'm going to move, and then I'm going to just times it by my speed variable, and then times it by
time dot delta time.
Yep. The usual times it time dot delta time. Without the time dot delta time, it will be wicked fast, and it's a way to slow it down. Even though you're timesing it, delta time is really small, so it's like 12, or movement speed, which is usually 1 times, let's say 12, is 12, and then if you times this by a really small number like a 0.05, it's actually smaller. And that's it. So now if we hit, let's just make the double screen again, we can see what's happening. Click on the player. If we hit play over here, I can look around, and if I choose to go forward, press W. Here I go. And it goes in whichever direction. I'm just holding down W as I move around with my mouse. Literally just holding down W, and now I can go around the pillars. I can definitely move around and turn whichever direction. And now I will press S to go backwards. And I'm still going to move my W. You can see that my back turns. Therefore, backwards become a different value. And also, yeah, what's up?
I have a good idea for the player. Okay, I want to texture him with something. Okay, hit stop on the game, and I want to do something.
All right, I got you.
This will be completely optional, but it's just a texture.
I do wanna show that the character controller, even though you don't have a rigid body, if you walk off the map, it doesn't it doesn't really fall. So that's the one drawback with the character controller, because usually now that you're using the character controller, you kind of don't want to use the rigid body. You kind of want to code in the gravity yourself. That's, to me, I mean, if you look online, it will tell you the same thing. Character controllers are better used with coded gravity. So keep in mind that you don't have gravity with the character controller. And if you use a rigid body, it could mess up your movement based on what you're really trying to accomplish. I think in our situation here, we might be okay with a character controller. I'm gonna give my boy Scrooge, my dude Scrooge, the Scrooge. I'm gonna give Cruz the ability here to control my screen. Just click and take it away, man. I think he's going to texture the character, so he's in control now.
Oh wait, I'm in game.
Okay.
Oh gosh, it's laggy.
Sharing screens is always fun. I could do it for you if you tell me what you try to do.
Honestly, I think that'll be better.
All right. Then that I will. Let me take back control.
Okay,
all right. What do you want him? What do you want to happen?
I want him to look like One Punch Man.
One Punch Man.
Yeah, my favorite anime.
All right. All right. I'll have to cut that out of the recording somehow. All right. So let us find some. Let's create some materials. Oh, I'm gonna put my materials in the material folder. Let's just go ahead and call this head. And then the one here that's called player, I'm gonna rename it to body. Now I'll make his head like skin tone because, you know, just his bald head.
Yeah, let's make him One Punch Man.
And then I'll actually just duplicate this guy since he's already at the same spot. Take away this, take away that, take away this, take away that, put it here, and I'm gonna try something here.
Reskin.
I'm gonna try something. That there. And then this one. I'll make this one a little bit shorter, actually. And then this one a little bit taller.
Wait, and why are his eyes? He looks like Frankenstein.
There you go. Alright, so before we wrap this up, we need to create, we're just going to create a pistol for our One Punch Man capsule, now that we've reskinned it, or, you know, we've placed new materials on it. So first thing is, we're going to hop online and just search crosshair PNG. And I find that this one here is pretty nice from the clip art key. And just go in here and head to the site. Once you're on the site, is this the one? No, this one actually. From PNG items. Once you're on the site, just go ahead and click right here. It says download. This will pop up. It counts down 3, 2, 1. And then this download button shows up, and then it will begin to download. And just bring this up, and you can see it downloads it here. Once it's done downloading, just drag it into your Unity project. You can just literally click it right here and drag it, boop, just like so. And then one other thing to do, once it's in your project, you want to change the texture type to Sprite UI, and then go ahead and hit apply. You'll see the PNG item like that. What this is going to do is just overlay on the camera. So if you right click in here and choose UI and choose image, you see an image pop up, and this image is simply just going to overlay on your camera. So as I move around, that image in the corner, they just kind of overlay on your camera. Sometimes though, this image will pop up like in the center of your screen. That's normal. But what we're going to do is simply replace it now with this. So if you click this and just replace it, boop. Now we have our crosshair here. However, you know, the size of it or how it looks is kind of weirdish. But you can always click this button to set native, and then once it comes back to full resolution, you can go back into maybe 2D view here and just zoom out so you can find, you know, this is the screen, and then this is this, and just kind of scale it down. I suggest hold shift so that you keep the resolution, and then just move it around. Make sure you center it in the center of your screen. Just keep looking at it and see how big it is here, but just make sure you center it. Once you've moved it where you want to be, just bring it back to the very center. Maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Back to the center, like
Yeah, a little bit bigger.
a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
I want to see all the lines. That's fine. And so what happens here now is as you play your game, look in all kinds of direction, the crosshair stays in the exact center. Feel free to really make yours smaller if you want to. You know, customize it however you want. Next, before we wrap up, is that we're just going to create, let's head back into 3D, double click on One Punch player, and we're going to create, let's right click on him and create a cube, and then we're just going to scale it, let's see, make it black. Let's just scale it into a pistol-like figure.
I think we're gonna need multiple cubes for this.
Yeah, we might. We may. We can certainly do so. I'll bring it up to where near the camera. You can see where it's coming in right there. And it's still pretty small. But while I'm in the camera view, I could do something like this, like just have two views. So I can see what it's looking like as I'm scaling it here. A little bit longer. And I think it needs to go a little bit this way. And then maybe.
But it does really work, but we need to change the texture on it soon.
Right.
Zip on zip.
Alright. And now that it's in that area, I can always add the other parts of the pistol. But one thing we notice is that it's clipping off. The camera's not registering all of it. And here you have your near clip-ins, and you can turn this down to reveal more. So now it's fully revealed. The only problem is that the color of it is the same color as the floor.
Yeah.
So if we went like here, now we can really see it better. We can see it better. What we want is for it to move with the camera.
Yeah.
So that is the final thing we're gonna show you here before we wrap this up. I'll just rename it to gun. And just drag it and drop it in the camera.
The camera, yeah.
Because the camera rotates.
Just so that it looks like a gun and not just a cube, which you're holding in your hand.
So now if we bring Mr. One Punch guy here, you can see him below, right here. Now so we rotate around, we can look up and down.
Down.
He's ready to
Pew, pew, pew. Pew, 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 pew. But Leon, are we gonna make this a single shot gun or a rapid fire?
Well, we're not sure yet. We're not sure yet. But we're gonna wrap this tutorial up here.
Yes.
If you guys have any questions, well, just replay the video actually. Or leave a comment in the comment area below.
Yes.
Anything to add, Mr. Cruz?
That will be for part 3. Then we'll add a few more things.
All right, you heard him. Part 2 is done. Part 1 was the camera. Part 2 is the movement, and Part 3 will be actually the pew pew pew.
Pew pew pew.
That's all for now. We'll catch you in the next one.
So, bye everyone. Peace.